Hey, good afternoon. My name is Stephen Newhauser. I head up OneLogin's MSP practice globally. Thank you for joining us today. This will be a recorded demo for all of our partners that are interested in learning more about our MSP program. I'm joined with Tony Chon, our lead solutions engineer who has extensive experience working with MSPs. At a high level, we wanted to say thank you for taking your time. We know you work with a lot of vendors and have a lot of choices out there, so we're excited that you're taking some time out of your day to join us. OneLogin, as you'll learn throughout this video, has a lot of features and capabilities that really suits your business needs, from driving operational efficiencies through self-service password reset and auto provisioning users to a multi-tenanted white label solution and a wide variety of solutions, all within the OneLogin platform that allow you to consolidate vendors. So we do a lot more than identity management, single sign-on, and multi-factor authentication. And we hope you enjoy this video. And if you have any questions, certainly let us know. Thanks so much. And Tony, I'll hand it off to you now.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. Hi, everyone. So my name is Tony Chon. I'm going to show you the demonstration today of our platform. So our platform could be leveraged on any type of machines like Windows, Macs, tablets. We do support all the major browsers, Chrome, Firefox, IE, Safari. So just to kind of give you an idea of the branding capability, the users will go to yourorganization.onelogin.com, and it's fully brandable: background image, logo, color scheme. And then you can also put additional links at the bottom to assist them. So for example, like FAQ with video link tutorials and maybe how to use the platform, or self-registration links for vendors, contractors, temporary workers, whomever they're trying to bring on board, or maybe like a code of conduct information. We noticed that many organizations are faced with forgot password situation. So we have a self-service model. So the users will click this forgot password link, put in their information, and then based on who they are, they're going to see options to do self-service, whether it's email, SMS, security questions. We also have a new phone app that's available as well. And then for security questions as an option, you can make them answer anywhere between 1 through 30 questions. So whatever number that you feel is worthy, long as they answer all those correctly, they'd be able to do the self-service. And then if you have the users tied back down to the Active Directory, they can use that same tool to reset their AD password. So you don't need to go out and purchase a separate solution. It's already baked into the OneLogin solution set. And then this help goes to any of your email help ticketing systems that you guys might be leveraging. So we truly try to make it easy front end for your user base there. So I'm going to log in from a couple different perspectives to kind of simulate what they would experience. So I have a username by Joe Manager. So when Joe Manager authenticates, based on their job function, title, location, we call that role-based access control. They're going to see XYZ applications that they need to get access to. So not everyone might see every single apps, right? Only the ones that you want them to see and use will be presented in this portal format. Just to simulate a totally different user, let me log out of Joe Manager here and log in as a totally different persona. So I have a username by Joe MSP. So when Joe MSP logs in, once again, based on some type of attribute like title, location, pay grade, security group, as you can see, totally different sets of applications. And then from there, if they just need to access anything, they click on whichever app. So in this case, Office 365, there's no additional password for them to fumble with or type in, and they're going to be properly authenticated as themselves into those respective apps. I noticed that today the Microsoft is a little bit slow today. I guess they're having some problems, not in the OneLogin in, but it's on the Microsoft side. So I noticed that as I'm recording this, as you see, it was a little bit slow to get in, but it's not from OneLogin that's causing that slowness, just to be transparent there. It's Microsoft is the one that's causing that little bit of slowness. But as you can see, the whole Joe MSP is able to authenticate as them simply by clicking on whatever applications there. So now let's take a look into the admin perspective to see how everything works, and also showcase a few of the additional features that a lot of companies are looking for, like multi-factor. So when I log in as administrator, one thing that you're going to notice is that it did not log me in right away, meaning that it's looking for that multi-factor. So if I try to get in, it will stop me from getting in, and then I have a little pop-up in my phone. Was that you that tried to get in? So I'm going to get that second factor notification. All the user has to do is hit the accept button to verify that second factor, and then that gets validated, and then I'm able to get into the portal. So you can deploy multi-factor for subset of users or only the executives that travel all the time, or let's say you have an extremely sensitive app. And if they launch that extremely sensitive app, then it will ask for multi-factor. So if I try to get into this sensitive app, then it will ask for multi-factor. So you can do multi-factor at an individual user level, app level, maybe combination of both, or maybe if they're outside the network, then do multi-factor. So you don't have to do a blanket type approach. You can do the flexibility exactly how you guys want to deploy security measures within your organization. The starting point for most businesses is going to be some type of directory or some type of user record. So this is where we're going to sync in with the directories that you guys already have. Traditionally, what we're noticing is that most people have Active Directory. So that is fully supported. We also can support G Suite, LDAPs, Workday, AltiPro, namely Bamboo HR, and you can mix and match. You're not limited to any one type here. And then we also have a cloud directory service for the people maybe want to store them in the OneLogin instead of anywhere else. So we have that type of feature. So for Active Directory, which is the most common, so I'm going to talk about that during this demonstration. So you're going to select this Active Directory connector. It's really lightweight agent. It's about 7 megs in size, so super easy install. And you can have multiples, so you have that redundancy and failover purposes. And what it's actually doing is making an outbound connection back to us in the cloud on our 2 subnets here on port 443. So traditionally, you don't need to make too many changes on your network because it's making that outbound connection to us. And then once it's connected, you get to kind of dictate what you guys want to sync over with, meaning that we don't force upon you to sync over every single users or objects or anything like that. Some other solutions out there, they kind of do that to you. They're going to force that everything gets synced over. But for us, you get to kind of decide that. So just to show you what that looks like on the GUI front. So here's my Active Directory connector. Under the OU selection, as you can see, it's going to mimic that tree structure. And you can pick and choose what you guys want to sync over with. So super simple. And then by default, these are the things that we sync over. First name, last name, email, DN, UPN, SEMICON, member event status. But let's say you guys want to sync over more stuff, you have that flexibility. We don't limit you whatsoever. So if you want to sync over more stuff or any custom work, you have that option as well. So let's actually show you this live because I think seeing is going to be believing. So let me bring out my lab that's running on my here. So let me bring out my AD right there. So as you can see, US, New York, San Francisco, Texas, US, New York, San Francisco, Texas. And then just to show you that this user does not pre-exist, I'm going to search for a name. First name is going to be Kevin. Last name is going to be Owens. So as you can see, I don't have a username by Kevin Owens. So let's create a brand new user to simulate a brand new worker. So I'm going to go into my San Francisco OU here, right click, and then new user. First name is going to be Kevin. Last name is going to be Owens. Login name, Kevin Owens. I'm going to give Kevin an AD password. And then just for this demo, I'm just going to do never expires. You would do what you normally do there. So you created Kevin. So now you're going to right click on Kevin, go to properties, and give him an email. So Kevin Owens at iwantonelogin.com. And let's say he is part of a security group. So you're going to do member of, and let's say this guy is a manager. So all normal stuff, right? Just creating a user as to simulate if you had a brand new worker. So just by doing that, that connector that we mentioned sits on any high-level member server is subscribed to any changes. So it's going to pick up on that change. So now if I search for Kevin Owens, you see how it's instantaneously synced over to us. This is one of the key differentiators that we have this real-time synchronization. Other solutions out there, they do what's called batch process. So there could be delays of 2 hours, 4 hours, or whatever that batch time is. But you see with OneLogin, it's that real time. And just as we promised you, we synced over first and last name email and any of your directory information, like your security groups and OUs. But just to show you how quickly this will sync, you see how the last name has no junior or senior tag, right? So let's say you forgot to add a junior or senior. So you're going to go back to your AD here, right click, and then properties. On the last name, you're going to put a junior tag in his name. Hit apply and OK, and then come right back here and then refresh this website just to show you that how quickly we're able to change that. So you see how it instantaneously shows you that change. So this is crucial when someone's being promoted, depromoted, someone's disgruntled. How quickly are you able to act on that? With OneLogin, is going to be that real-time synchronization. Okay. So the next part I want to talk about is roles and mappings. The reason being is that not everyone needs to access every single thing. And so you can kind of break that up, and we call that our roles. So you can create many different roles within one login and attach whatever apps are needed for that particular role. So for example, maybe you guys have a marketing role, and if you're part of the marketing role, you're gonna get these type of applications. If you're a manager role, you might get different set of applications, IT and so forth. But as you know, many organizations, people wear multiple hats. So if you want the users to belong to multiple roles at the same time, that's also very doable. And to point which users to belong to which role, you can do it manually, but that's going to take too much of your time and energy. So we recommend some type of automation. And we call that our mappings engine. Just think of it as a if-then conditional based statements, but we make it extremely easy to leverage. So for example, my manager mapping says if you're a member of a security group called manager, set a role as a manager. But what if you don't want to leverage that information? Can you use anything else? Absolutely. We can use first and last names, security groups, OUs, departments, job title, colors, hobbies, any custom attributes. And that's the beauty of OneLogin, is that the flexibility. And not only can we do simple rules, we can also do compound rules. So we can say member of a security group and location equals, let's say, Michigan. And then you can add another condition and say something like first name does not equal Joe. So everybody except Joe as a first name located in Michigan with this security group would have been affected. Or you want them to belong to another role so they can get more applications, or maybe they're part of the marketing role. So as you can see, extremely flexible and easy to use. You don't need to worry about scripting or anything like that there. So this is one of the key differentiators, that flexibility and ease of use within our system. So let's finish out that story of the user that we created. So it was Kevin Owens. So remember that he was a manager, so he's gonna get those manager-related applications through that roles and mappings. So apps like Office 365, G Suite, Salesforce, Box, Dropbox, we call those provisioning apps. They're about 80 plus apps that in our catalog supports this special provisioning feature. So what that means is that we're able to go create Kevin's account into the app for you automatically, and not just create them, also assign them the right license and attributes and entitlements. And you can have it where it goes to approval stage from your admin team, or you can set it up so that does a full automation without any admin approval. Totally up to you. You get to set that on an app by app basis. On my demo here, I have approval stage. So it's actually to go in and create that user for me automatically. So now let's open up an incognito window and log in for the very first time as that user. So they're gonna go to your subdomain.onelogin.com. Remember, it's all brandable experience for that user. So Kevin's gonna type in Kevin Owens, their AD credentials, and then they're gonna be authenticated. And then if you enable the multi-factor policy, they will need to register their phone. But in this particular demo, I did not force them to do multi-factor registration. But one of the other cool features is that you can do T's and C's, meaning that you can force your users to agree to the terms and conditions. This is totally optional. You can deploy for a subset of users, or maybe you like this, so deploy for everybody, or maybe you guys don't want to use it. Totally up to you guys. I'd mind have it agreeable. And then if you enable that security questions as an option for them, you need to collect their own set of questions and answers. So upon that initial login from very large pick list, they can pick out whatever questions that they would like to answer. So now they have their own answers to do that password reset via security questions if needed for the future there. Okay? So now Kevin, as a manager, remember with that roles and mappings, they're gonna see XYZ applications on their portal page. And then from there, if they need to get into any particular app, they click on the Office app here. You're gonna notice that there was no password for that users to type in. And then you as administration staff did not have to manually go create that account into Office 365. It was automatically provisioned for you with the right license, entitlements for that particular user. Okay. And let's also talk about the opposite experience, the offboarding process. How quickly are you able to do so? That's one of the big challenges that a lot of customers are faced with. Currently, if someone gets offboarded, you have to remember to go back in and take them off those access to those applications. And typically, you're going to forget one or two, and you have that lingering access. So with OneLogin, you can do that in one fell swoop. So if you want to leverage your AD, you can do so. So going back to my AD here, let's say Kevin decides that he wants to retire, so you want to go back into security group if that's the information that you want to reflect. So let's say he's no longer a manager security group. So you're going to remove him. And let's say you guys have a security group called retired. So just by changing him to a different security group, remember that roles and mappings that we talked about? Watch what happens to all his applications in his portal. You see how they'll quickly disappear? Only thing he has left is his LinkedIn app. So you saw how quickly we're able to give access, just as how quickly we're able to take away access. Or let's say Kevin is being disgruntled today and you need to cut off all their access. So then you're gonna go back to your AD here and then disable the account. And that's all you gotta do. So now if Kevin is still logged in, if they try to get into any of these particular apps, they're gonna be forced logged out because we have that real-time synchronization. And if they try to jump on a different computer to data dump or anything like that, it's instant kill switch. There's no lingering access. There's no what if. You know, you don't need to wait for 2 hours or anything like that. It's going to be instantaneously there. Okay, that's the whole onboarding and offboarding experience. And then one of the cool features of OneLogin is that we can do the reporting aspect of what's happening behind the scenes. And I'm going to talk about reporting a little bit later on the demo as well, but just quickly, I want to show you some of the logs that you're going to see about the user. So when Kevin logged in, he had a risk score of 57, and we call this adaptive authentication. So we can take a look at, you know, what location, what browser, what OS, what time of day, did he log into 2 different places at the same time? So it's constantly adjusting about the user and using our machine learning technology to risk that to give you a score. So you can say if they have a high risk, they need to keep doing multi-factor, but if they have a lower risk, they don't have to do multi-factor. So you can do those type of separate policies. The reason why we're pointing this out is that a lot of organizations want to deploy multi-factor, but you're going to get a big pushback from your users. So this is kind of that middle ground. You want to do the security aspect using multi-factor, but this also take a learn the behavior of each of your users to adjust to see when is necessary or not. And once again, I'm going to talk about the reporting a little bit in more details a little bit later on the demonstration there. A few other features that we want to talk about is apps, because that's the big thing that customers are going to ask you. Does it support XYZ things? So we have this a huge catalog of applications. Exact number, I think the last count is over 6,000, just to kind of give you an idea. It's constantly growing, and you can also use custom apps. So the 6,000 plus are ones that are already published, but you can always create custom apps on the fly for, so pretty much it's an endless there. And you can search our catalog for whatever you like. So a lot of people, you guys mentioned that you guys want to use Office 365. You search for it, and it will support that SAML and that provisioning. Let's say you guys want to use ConnectWise, so you search for the word Connect, and it will bring that up there. So we have all these different applications that is available, so not a problem. But maybe even some obscure apps. Maybe you guys, some of your customers use FedEx, or maybe you guys, UPS, whatever apps that you can do there. So super simple. But let's also talk about a scenario where you search XYZ and it's not there. What are your options at this point? So we can do a password manager as well, and it's already baked into our solution. And that's going to require a browser extension plugin. And it's available in all the major browsers. So for example, I'm going to open up a new tab here and go to digitalocean.com. It could be pretty much any website that you want to integrate with. I'm going to use DigitalOcean. The reason being is that I have an account with them. That's the reason. So I want to show you the whole process of what it takes to integrate this particular app. So it looks like I'm already logged in. So let me log out real quick. So as you can see, it requires some type of login process here. So this is where I'm going to type in my credentials for the first time and log in. So as soon as I log in, that browser extension is going to detect that you logged into something, and it's going to see that pop up asking you, would you like us to save this for you? So you're going to say yes. And then is this for your company or is it your personal use? And you can turn these features on and off based on your users that you want to deploy it to. So in this particular case, I'm going to add it as a company app. So now without any scripting, without learning any programming languages or anything like that, you created this app on the fly. So let me close this tab here and then go into the portal. I have so many apps, so let's see what I put it under. Most likely, I'm thinking it's probably under my routers. Oh, there it is. So he created this app on the fly, as you can see. So the next time when I click on it, it's going to take me to that location, and it's going to inject that credentials that I put in the first time, and then I'm able to be authenticated in. So extremely simple to pretty much add anything that has a browser front end. One of the beauties of that feature is that now as administrator, you have access to that app and you can start deploying to other members of your team and few other tricks. So for example, I'm gonna go into the catalog here and then search for DigitalOcean now because it's available because you added it. And then from here, one of the cool features is that you can do what's called parameters. So think of some applications where the entire department might be sharing one set of credentials. So for example, company Facebook or Twitter or company's Staples account or FedEx account, right? The entire department might know that credentials. But what if one of those team members left your organization? Then you got to change the password for the remaining people. You're going to say, oh, since Cindy left, please memorize this new complex password to our company Twitter page. But everyone's going to gripe, right? Because they don't want to memorize another complex thing. So by having it where it's configured by admin and shared by all users, only the admin that sets it up will know that credentials, can give access to whomever they like, but none of them ever will know the password. So that this is really easy for us to do something like that. And then some MSPs also want to maybe store some notes and things like that. So we have what's called a secure notes feature. So this is where you can put like, notes about, log into the server might be XYZ, or log in, the box to a security box or key to the is located at XYZ. So you can create these secure notes and share those notes to whomever. So you have that information as well. So you don't have to write it down on sticky notes or anything like that. So that's part of our secure notes feature. The next topic I want to talk about is additional security measures. So for example, let's say you guys want to protect an app where the user must be inside the corporate network in order to access it. So for example, if I try to get into this WordPress app, when I click on it, it doesn't allow me to because I'm not coming from a certain IP range. So this requires zero changes to your firewall. All you have to do within OneLogin is create a policy. And it's super simple for us. I can show you what that looks like. So under our policies here, I have so many policies, but the one that I created for that one is called work only access policy. And then this is where you're gonna whitelist your public IPs. So if you have a bunch of IPs or locations, go ahead and list them. And then you would just sign this policy to whichever app that you wanna tie it to. So super simple process for us. And then once again, that you saw earlier where if you wanna put multi-factor at any individual app, you can do so as well. So in my particular, that's my router. I don't want just anybody getting to my router, so that when I try to get into my router, it will ask for that multi-factor. So you can do those type of scenarios. A couple other things I want to talk about is the policies engine one more time, because a lot of companies want to create policies for different set of users, and you're able to do so with OneLogin. So for example, you can say password expires every 30, 60, 90 days. They can't keep using the same credentials as previously, and the minimum length has to be XYZ, and a complexity and so forth. So the beauty of OneLogin is that you can create policies, and then based on who they are, they're going to be able to follow that procedure there. And then you can also do session-based. So let's say invalid login attempts, lock them out for 15 minutes and things like that, or inactivity time of, let's say, 15 minutes or whatever have you, and then they would need to relog in. So you have those type of features as well. Okay. A couple other things I want to showcase is going to be self-registration. So, you saw earlier that we do support wide ranges of directories like AD, G Suite, LDAPs, Workday, and so forth. But there's also going to be a scenario where you might have contractors or part-time workers or seasonal workers. How do you get them into the mix as well? So you can create many different profiles. We don't limit you. I created one called contractors and vendors. And then you just give out this URL through like an email blast or newsletter or link off your website. And then if the user goes to that URL, it's once again fully brandable. And then they will see that they can register themselves or maybe have the hiring manager fill this out on behalf of that user. And then they'll be self-created into the OneLogin cloud directory. And they can live at the cloud directory instead of your AD if you like. So instead of muddying up your AD infrastructure, they can live in the OneLogin cloud directory. And then you still can do that roles and mappings that we talked about so that these users are going to have access to one or two apps to fulfill their duties. So the whole point is that you don't need to muddy up your AD if you do not wish to do so, if you want to live in the OneLogin cloud directory, or maybe start with the self-registration in the OneLogin and then have us write back down to the AD. That's also fully supported as well. So you have many use cases that we can solve just by this one simple feature. Couple other things I want to showcase is going to be reporting aspect. So let's say you guys want to know what's happening behind the scenes. We have this Sumo Logic integration. Not only with Sumo Logic, we can work with Splunks, ELKs of the world. And then I like this Sumo Logic because the partnership we have with them is very strong, and they provided us to all of our customers a free account. There is a caveat of 7-day data retention. So if you want to unlock that feature, you have to pay for their service. But every 7 days, the data resets. And the reason why I like it, and I like to showcase it a lot, is because it gives you, with a couple clicks, you have the full visibility. So imagine where you can look at a single pane of glass to know where your users are logging in from. So if you start seeing logins from strange places, do you have compromised accounts? Why do you see logins from West Africa for no apparent reason and things like that? Or the security dashboard is probably one of my favorites because it gives you all the high-level areas of concern. Who are your active users? Who had changed passwords? Which countries? Whose user record was recently modified. So here's that Kevin Owens that we deleted them in Office 365 because remember how we offboarded that user, right? Or who had failed login attempts. So let's say I want to know when this occurred. Just click on that portion of the graph and then click on the messages, and it has that full information, the timestamp, the user, and the IP address. So as you can see, extremely easy with a couple of clicks of the mouse, you have that type of data. And not only that, we also have our own reporting aspect as well. And you can download it to a CSV file. And then we also have notifications, meaning that you can alert your admin team or your help desk if someone is being locked out or new admin's account is being created or your Active Directory connector goes down. So you can do those type of notification as well within our system. One other thing I want to showcase is going to be help desk personnel. Because I noticed that after talking to many customers, they do have a person within the organization called help desk, right? But you have to give keys to the kingdom to them for them to do their job. But it's a kind of dangerous situation, right? Typically, help desk personnel is one of the lower tier engineers, I would say, because they want to start their career path. But you don't want to give them the full, keys to the kingdom. So with OneLogin, you're able to kind of subsidize that in a sense to only have them access to a few things. So I have a username by help desk. So when I log in as a help desk, they're gonna have, oops, if I can, forgot the password. Let's see. Okay, let's actually, let me reset the password. I forgot the password. Kind of embarrassing, so please bear with me. That happens, right? So it's help desk. I'm gonna go to my help desk here and then change the password real quickly. Okay, so I created so I'm gonna open up back the incognito window again and log in as a help desk. So they're gonna go to the portal, help desk, then they're gonna authenticate. So once they're authenticated, um, you have the option for them to be very limited. So they're gonna go into administration because they have that authorization to do some of the work, and they're gonna have this users list. But if they try to chase upstream, meaning if this help desk personnel try to get into my admin account, watch what happens when they try to get into my admin account. They're going to get denied because they can't chase upstream. But if they try to get to any of the regular users' accounts, so let's say you want them to help with regular users. So let's say going back to that user, Joe Manager, they're able to find that user and then they're able to assist them. But if you see how everything's grayed out, meaning they can't change any of the attributes or application access or anything like that, but they could help them with changing out their password or send that invitation for that user to reset their password on themselves. So as you can see, very limited functionality as a help desk. And every time we talk about this to the customers, they really like this, right? Because you don't need to give that keys to the kingdom that you don't wish to have your lower tier members receiving there. Okay, and then let's talk about the MSP aspect. And this is where I'm going to kind of let Steven kind of do some of the reviews for you. So within the OneLogin, you have this sub accounts feature. And then you can create many different sub accounts underneath your master account. So I created one called TC001. So as an MSP, you were able to go into your customers' the configuration and assist them. As you can see, they're gonna have the fully brandable instance with their own logos and so forth. And so it's really easy to manage and navigate and configure your customers. Steven, what else do they can do with this?
Yeah, hey, thanks, Tony. I really appreciate it. You've been driving this really exceptionally well. So obviously, one of the big competitive advantages of OneLogin in the identity space is this multi-tenanted platform. And so what it allows you to do is create multiple sub-accounts. You can give them different plan types. So maybe they need, password reset for one customer. Customer B needs, SSO and MFA. So there's a lot of functionality. You'll be able to assign different plan types that really meet the needs and business objectives, and more importantly, their budget for those various different customers. And so you'll have those capabilities to create, all your different seller accounts with the different plans. So we're really excited about this competitive differentiator. I'm sure you guys will like this and actually expect it from, other vendors. And as you can see, Tony's in the account, so he's creating a new account. It's unlimited was the plan type. You can create the subscription number of users. This really is tied in more to our credit card system, which we're looking to build out our capabilities. Right now, it's a manual process where we bill you folks. We're looking to integrate with ConnectWise and Autotask and some of these other things to make billing a little bit easier. But ultimately, as you can see, Tony was able to create a second customer account, and essentially he can now get in there, brand it, and begin to hook up that customer specific Active Directory and do all the things they need to do, set up this unique instance for this customer.
And then thanks for that, Stephen. And then plus we have many features that we haven't even talked about so far. So for example, like Radius, LDAP support. So instead of having your on-prem Radius server or LDAP server that you have to manage and upkeep and maintenance, you can just point them to us in the cloud. So that's going to save a lot of the infrastructure costs, maintenance, and so forth. So this would be great for like VPN, right? So that when they try to connect to the VPN client, they would use their AD credentials or the OneLogin credentials. And not only that, you can also add multi-factor on top. So you know for sure the right person is accessing your VPN. So we have those type of features. And then we also have what's called a desktop agent. For what that feature allows you to do is to, if they don't have AD environment, you can bind a local account of that Windows machine so that when they log into that local account of that Windows 10 machine or Macs, they would use their OneLogin credentials to authenticate, so that you can control, the actual login to the desktop level, and then you also can take away access as well. So it's a really nice feature that we have. These are all add-on features that we offer, and the reason why I like it is because you can see the visibility of when they logged into the machine and so forth from an admin perspective as well.
Yeah, no, Tony, I think that's a great point. So what we're looking at is to make the vision at OneLogin is the future of security is not about firewalls. Obviously, it's extending the perimeter beyond that. So fundamentally, are you who you say you are, right? And then if you are, then you need to get onto a device. That device needs to access a network, whether it's local LAN, WAN, whatever it might be. And then the users are going to be accessing applications. And arguably, the users don't know if they're on-prem, in the cloud, or whatever. And maintaining the integrity of that workflow is really kind of the vision and where OneLogin wants to go. In particular, how this maps back to you guys is I think a lot of you folks with the MSP customers we're talking with want to get rid of Active Directory on-prem. So OneLogin plus desktop, will help you kind of maybe achieve some of those goals for those customers that are moving in that cloudless environment, being everything in the cloud. So that's really exciting prospects with OneLogin desktop. Outside of that, I think, Tony, is there anything else we need to show them today? I think you've done an amazing job.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think this is a good start. Of course, we're going to keep making more videos to help you guys. So if you have any questions, please reach out to us. We already have a lot of videos already in play. And then we have this great plan. And then maybe also talk about support, maybe, Stephen.
Oh,
What
yeah.
do you think about support?
Yeah, so I have OneLogin. Yeah, that's a great point. So OneLogin support is we're not asking you to be certified OneLogin folks. So in the initial phase, you're gonna get a support ticket. The customer's gonna notify you. and then you guys, hand that off to us. And our support is really kind of best in class. One of the things that sets us apart to help us get that 99% approval and customer satisfaction is that we aren't going to route you to a tier 1 person. We are going to route you to a subject expert matter. So if you're having problems with the Active Directory connector, you're going to go to the guy or gal that sits on that type of expertise and handles that all day long. If it's another problem with Radius, you're going to get routed to the Radius team, and so that we can troubleshoot your problem much faster than going to a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 escalation process. And we think that's very helpful. Certainly, if you guys are looking to handle more of the troubleshooting, we're building out certification programs, and we're really excited about those enablement programs that'll be coming on in Q1 of 2019. But at a high level, we certainly hope that you've enjoyed this video. It was very informative. Obviously, you're going to have more questions. We're very responsive. We pride ourselves on that service, and we'd certainly love to talk to you in person. So thanks again for your time today, and we look forward to working with you and helping you grow our joint revenue together with your customers. Thanks again, Tony, and thanks everybody for attending.